pull up a chair, take out the oxygen, and join the discussion.
You've just stepped into Life Unculturable,
the world where conversations grow faster than colonies.
We're your hosts, Sam and Julia, scientists by day,
podcasters by night,
and professional oxygen avoiders 24/7. Join us in exploring the science of microbes that thrive in the absence of oxygen on Life Unculturable. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today here on Life Unculturable, we have something kind of different going on. You've got me in the podcast studio, and you've got Julia standing on a corner in Vinzelj, Arizona.
That's right. Only one of us is in the chamber now.
Yeah, that's true. One of us is out in the world. I'd say sample collecting, but no, this is Oh.
I mean, I pulled some samples out of the tires of my car yesterday, but
oh no,
unintentionally collected.
Oh my. But no, this is, so for those of you that may be curious as to what in the world is going on, this is, we'll call it like a Thanksgiving-esque episode. Mm-hmm. Julia is traveling to the southwestern of the United States, down in Arizona somewhere. And then I'm stuck up here in good old Stillwater, Oklahoma, a couple of states away. And so this is our...
I left you behind.
You did. And this is our attempt at, what would we call this? This is long-distance broadcasting, long-distance podcasting.
I didn't know if you heard that, but I think Hope, the coffee shop dog here, agrees.
Oh, well, hello, Hope.
There you go.
Oh my. See, I should have been recording your video now. It's like, oh, we got like a little video clip. Snag Hope the dog, and that'll be the secret sauce that we need. I don't know that I could sneak my dog into the library. Maybe, he's pretty quiet.
You absolutely should. But honestly, we have your voice. Our podcast doesn't need any more helping dogs.
Oh, okay. Well, that's mighty nice of you, Julia. Talk to us about this drive from Stillwater to Arizona. How many hours have you been on the road, and how many hours do you have left to go?
So I'm not going directly from Stillwater to Phoenix. I'm taking a bit of a detour. So I've been on the road for 3 days now? The first day took me to the 3-state corner, Oklahoma, Colorado, and New Mexico, up in the Panhandle. And I hiked the highest point in Oklahoma, just barely, before the rain caught up to me. And then from there, I've been driving along the border of New Mexico and Colorado, took a couple stops, walked a couple trails. And yesterday I've been to the Bisty Badlands. And now today I've been to the Petrified Forest here in Arizona, which is very beautiful. If you ever stop in Arizona, you have to stop at the Petrified Forest for sure.
Wow. I couldn't agree more with the Petrified Forest. Absolutely beautiful part of the country. I had no idea that the highest part of Oklahoma was out there in the Panhandle. I thought it was, what's it called? Mount Scott?
Oh, apparently not. I don't know.
Interesting.
But I'm also not too sure, because I didn't know either until I went up there and then saw the sign. So highest point of Oklahoma. And I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. No, did it have a name?
Yeah, it did have a name. And been traveling so much, I of course forgot all the names. Black Mesa State Park.
Mesa State Park.
It was in the Black Mesa State Park.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm trying to think I don't think I've ever been out in the Panhandle of Oklahoma.
Oh, you should. It is so beautiful, because there's just emptiness. There's nothing there.
Oh,
literally.
Totally.
I think I stopped in the middle of the road at some point because I was traveling at night, and the stars were just so beautiful. And I stopped in the middle of the road and took some astrophotography pictures with no car coming from either direction.
Oh, wow. No, that's so good. I think the furthest west I've ever been in Oklahoma is sort of out in the Great Salt Plains area.
Ooh,
probably on the west.
That is also very beautiful.
West side of that. I'm trying to think of the name of the town, but there's a lake out there. And that was one of the places where I went to collect myxobacteria environmental samples, was that lake.
Nice.
And so I have a really nice picture sort of on this little beach area in this secluded part of this lake that I found. And, more on the mixo isolation later. We're talking fun stuff today, folks. No science.
No science today.
No science, just American travel. No kilometer conversions, nothing. It's all Fahrenheit and miles.
It sure is.
Oh, my. So you said you were headed to Phoenix.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, the plans got shifted a little bit yesterday when I got stuck in the mud in some backcountry road, and I had to take my car to the car wash afterwards and wash every little bit. Like there was so much mud and sand stuck in the tires, it took me an hour to be able to drive again without the car rattling.
Oh my.
Yeah.
See, if that tells you anything, that would have been like a mark of pride where I went to high school. You would, because there were weeks that we would have, like, I don't remember what we would call them now, but there would be different activities like every day, and one of them would be like muddy truck day. And so the night before, you would go out into the field and get excessively muddy and just throw mud all over your truck and the windshield and the the mirrors and just everything. And then the next day you would see like all of the, well, not all of them, but some of the students in the school would have just crazily muddy vehicles. And then it's like, oh, drive your tractor to school day. And, and like, oh, so I'm not saying there was an excess of things to do where I grew up, but there were things that we could do. And, and those were like the only options.
That sounds like a lot of fun. But yeah, So my little Herbert, that's what I call my cute little Ford Focus that I'm driving around in, has he now officially been initiated into the Oklahoman car circle with the mud that we threw onto him yesterday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was it really red? Got that red Oklahoma, that red clay?
Unfortunately not. That particular part of the Bisty Badlands that I was going through was not red.
Yeah.
It was just brown mud.
Wow, that's okay. We'll allow it just this once for Herbert.
Just for Herbert. That's nice.
Oh my. Wow. So you straddled New Mexico and Colorado.
I did.
Wow. No, that's so good. I love Colorado. That's one of my favorite states to travel to is Colorado.
Oh yeah, I would love to go there too. I mean, for now I've only been at the border to New Mexico, but yeah, Colorado is still on my list. But also Arizona and New Mexico both are very beautiful in their own ways.
So how much further would you say you have to go to get to your destination in Phoenix? I know you said that you're taking kind of not the direct route, but
yeah,
if you still have some more meanderings to go, when can we expect you to arrive safely in Phoenix from Vinzelj?
So tomorrow at lunchtime, I'm supposed to meet with my cousins for lunch in Phoenix, Arizona. So that's what we're doing. But yeah, had I gone straight, it would have taken me from Stillwater to where I'm supposed to go. It would have been 15 hours and a couple of minutes. But yeah, now I think I've been on the road for 20 hours at least, if not more.
Wow. No, that's a pretty good road trip.
Yes.
That is a pretty good road trip.
And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What have you been up to while I was gone?
Oh my. Well, obviously I've been in the lab, getting grants funded, submitting manuscripts.
Doing the real work while I play.
Yeah, I've been doing the Lord's work in the lab. And no, as far as the lab goes, I will say that we obviously miss you. It's only been like one day, but nonetheless, it has fallen apart. We're in shambles. Iman and I are helpless. Well, maybe not Iman. I'm helpless.
I was about to say you two are pretty self-sufficient. I don't know about our students, but you guys handle it very well usually.
Well, maybe in that regard, we're like cats.
Oh.
we don't need a lot. We'll just take care of ourselves eventually. Eat our owners when they die in the living room. But
yeah.
No, I will say, got some good news from Mustafa and Noha. I think we're ready to resubmit a manuscript where we're detailing the what would be called a species description of a couple of new species of Pseudomonas. And yeah, so
congratulations.
I got that email yesterday from them, and it was basically like, here's what's left. Let's fix it. Let's get it in. because that deadline is, I think, middle of December. So we've got maybe 3 weeks, but I'd obviously like to get it done sooner rather than later. So I'll probably work on that after this podcast, see if I can get everything shored up that they want fixed. But in the non-labby side of things, because we're obviously here to talk about fun stuff today, and nobody thinks the lab is fun. I have been on a quest to string up holiday lights all over my house. My wife.
Dad mode on.
Oh, yes. Dad mode, engage. And so we got so many. I think we bought like 500 feet of Christmas lights. So my wife bought those, and then it was like, oh, we're going to try to, string these up and do that sort of thing. And then I had my dad. We met in Joplin, Missouri a few weeks back, and he brought down about a 30-foot extension ladder. And so the plan originally was I was going to climb up the ladder and string the lights that way. And so the top of our house is it's pretty close to 35 feet. And as I climb to the peak with the lights in my hand, and the ladder's just wobbling, blah, 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 it's just wobbling. And I'm like, oh, because I'm not really one that's scared of heights. Like, I would say maybe I'm scared of dying, but I'm not scared of heights. And so I get up there and I'm wobbling a little bit, and I'm like, ooh, this is kind of, this ladder's probably older than I am. And then a little gust of wind blew by, and I went, whoa, okay, I'm not doing this. And so then we decided to rent this thing called a boom lift. What it is it's a big piece of equipment, and it's essentially got 4 arms that come down, and then it's got a little self-leveling gyroscope in it. It'll get leveled, and then it goes up. I think this one extends about 50 feet up in the air, and it telescopes and swivels around, and and so it felt much safer in that than it did on that ladder, I will say.
Jesus.
Yeah. But so that was fun. So I've been doing that. I sent a picture of that to my old PI. It was so funny. He's like, Sam, you don't do anything in halves, do you? I was just like, I guess I'll take that as a compliment. And no, I don't think I do anything halfway. We're gonna belly flop off the high dive. We're not doing anything at all.
Well, I've not known you for very long, but I can already subscribe to that. Like, you don't do anything in halves.
Yeah, no,
Look at this podcast.
Yeah.
That wouldn't exist if you weren't like one day we were joking about, hey, wouldn't it be fun if we did a podcast? And then a day later it was like, here are 5 scripts and the library can be rented here and here and here.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I don't know this, but I think you may have had something, a little inkling on your brain as well. And but you're right. We certainly had joked about it a couple of times. Like, oh, yeah, when Julia and I get fired and we start a podcast and we make money that way and, that sort of thing. And then I had the opportunity to go on someone else's podcast, and that was a really good time. And yeah, I think that was probably the gasoline that was poured onto this fire. And then, yes, the script started appearing, and the logos and all of the social media content ideas and things like that. But it's been fun. Yeah. It's been fun so far.
It has.
Yeah, it's been a really good time.
I really like this description of like we poured gasoline over that fire, because in the beginning, I think for both of us, it was this idea always in the back of our minds. And then your Finding Genius podcast thing just was the gasoline to that little kind of burning coals that it needed to erupt into flames.
Yes, erupt into flames and burn everything down around it. I can agree with that assessment. And yeah, because I think for me, it's been, I don't want to say it's been a dream to podcast, but it's always been a dream to do something creative. I've always wanted to have some sort of a creative outlet. And I think combining this creativity, this podcast, things that sort of go along with it, sort of with the non-creative side of my brain, the sciencey side of my brain, it's kind of been a nice exercise. And I've really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Same for me. A creative outlet was something that I always wanted to do. And I'm glad that we kind of found a way to do that for both of us.
Yeah. I think in a certain way, it was like everything. I'm trying to think of the expression. It's like we hit all the green lights, something to that effect. Like there weren't a
Or
ginormous amount of obstacles. You know,
yeah,
we got lucky
I
with
think
some of it.
yeah, totally. I think Mustafa would say all the stars aligned at some
Yes,
point, and we just
yes,
threw ourselves into it.
yeah. Because I think like the impetus was there, which was fantastic. We obviously had a podcast studio in the library. You know, had a PI that
Mhm.
was like, "Hey, do this. This is cool. You guys should do this." Instead of, "Hey, you know, you need to spend that extra 3.5 hours in the lab this week." Not that we
I
spend
wonder if
three and
that
a half
speaks
hours in here.
to his. I wonder if that speaks to his liberty in like supporting us in our endeavors, or if he just wanted us out of the lab.
Ooh.
If I don't have to look 3 more hours at your faces, I'm happy.
You know, that might require some extra research. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to lean into the supportive of the creative adventures side of that coin, but I'm not going to rule out the other one. Although I suppose if that was the case, we could just work it out to when we do this while he's teaching. And so it just like, oh, it just works out perfect. Like, ew, they're back. Oh, my. So Winslow, Arizona to Phoenix. Are you going to come back to Stillwater the same way that you went? Never. So that was a very quick answer. A very decisive woman here, folks. You would know this
No, I love Stillwater,
if you
and
knew
I
her. Very organized, very methodical. She already knew that this was not the case before she left.
This was my exit.
Yeah. So how are you
No.
planning on coming back then if you're not gonna straddle the New Mexico Colorado line on the way back?
I'm probably, I don't know yet. I haven't yet decided. So given that my plans kind of were overthrown a bit yesterday, I have not decided what to do on my way back, or if I like, because some of the points that I wanted to go to, I couldn't because of this mud incident. So maybe I'm doing them on the way back. If not, I was planning to go through the middle of New Mexico, more or less, because now I was like on the northern border. But now if I just go straight through the middle and Santa Fe and stuff like that, maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
But I absolutely am coming back. I love the lab. I want to go back to my fungi. And
but do they want you back?
Probably not, but luckily they have no say in the matter.
They have no say in the matter. No, that's pretty spot on. I like that. Like they're like angsty little teenagers.
Yes.
I'm like it's like the Jimmy Neutron movie where they're like, we want our parents to go away. We want to party all night and eat all the pizza. And then all the parents go away, and like 10 hours later, they're like, I miss my mom. That's kind of what I'm thinking. They're like little Jimmy Neutrons.
Probably. Although they do have like big siblings to take care of them, because Sakalia and Taylor are handling them. So maybe they don't need me back.
Well, they'll want you back. That's what I was going to say. They'll want you back. They'll want you back. They'll be like, you're not my regular caretaker.
In our episode about sample procurement, you said you're always traveling, no matter where you're going, you're traveling with your anaerobic char and your containers. I always do the same too. I have like this little baggie of like an ice box and some tubes and markers and whatnot. But given that I took a lot of stuff along with me traveling, there wasn't any room for it in my little Herbert, so I had to leave it behind.
Yes, I will say that I do have to keep in mind that it is going to take up space. And there was one Christmas traveling, it's probably been 2 years ago now, and we were going to drive to my parents, and I was like, there's absolutely no way, like we can take the dog and we can take all the suitcases, and then I got to throw in an anaerobic jar, but I'm like, I got to take one. And so I wound up stuffing it in sort of the there's a little area in the back of my wife's Jeep where like the spare tire is. You'll sort of lift the mat up in the back, and then the spare tire's like under the floor of the back storage area. And there just happened to be a little spot right there that would just perfectly fit this anaerobic jar. And so I stick it in there with, 10 tubes or however many tubes I had in it. And then my wife comes out because she's really good about like Tetrising together something. She'll like pack everything so neatly and so tightly that, it's almost glued together, and I just kind of throw things in places. And she goes, "Oh, no anaerobic jar?" And I go, "Well, you just can't see it, but it's in there." And sure enough, like I wound up taking some samples that Christmas.
Nice.
I
Did you
commend
take the
you for
spare
your
tire too?
restraint. Oh yes, yes, yes. Yeah, folks, definitely take your spare tire. Don't. I mean, samples are valuable, but so is getting places. So I would totally recommend taking the spare tire with you as well. But that reminds me, I chatted with a researcher out of, gosh, where was she from? I think Clemson, several months back,
Ooh.
and she
Where the hell is
was.
Clemson?
Clemson is, I don't know. I think
I
South
mean,
Carolina.
state-wise.
It's on the East Coast.
Okay.
Let me
Cool.
do a little quick Google search here. I think it's South Carolina. Clemson.
Not that I would know anything about South Carolina if it is there, but
Look at that. It's a public land grant research university in South Carolina. So obviously, folks,
there you
Clemson's in
go.
South Carolina. We've cut the other 45 seconds out of this. But I got in touch with her when I was looking at alligator, diving into the crazy gator peoples. And she had told me that when she goes out and collects alligator samples, like she's interested in something to do with their physiology. And so she goes around to like slaughterhouses in the rural areas in these different states during the alligator harvesting hunting seasons, and then will collect like the stomachs or the whatever that she was after for the gators, like from those processing facilities during those hunting season times. And I was like, "Oh, like that's really cool. Like I'm kind of envious of that. Like you're crazy. I like this." And then she told me that she's got like a big old like deep freeze in the back of her pickup truck that's running all the time. And I'm like, oh, goals.
What?
Goals. Yeah. So got like
Oh
a
my
full
God,
on
these
deep
American
freezer.
researchers.
Yeah.
We have this boat that has like a full-on lab on the boat. Now we have a pickup truck with a freezer. What is going on?
To be fair, the boat people were Canadians.
Potato, potato.
And they're like the cooler older brother
Yep.
that I just can't relate to. But yeah, she was like, "Yeah, I've got this freezer. It's in the back of my truck. I'll just toss them in there and I'll, freeze them solid, and I'll ship you the samples when I get back to you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I'm like, wow, somebody more dedicated to the cause than me. So I think maybe
Who would have thought that this is possible?
that's what I'm saying. This is phenomenal. I'm thinking if I ever get my hands on like a lab vehicle, that's going to have to be the first thing.
So if your family is listening, there's a Christmas gift for you right there.
Yeah, that's true. I am a size Harley Davidson. Yes, lab collection stuff. Yes, a lab collection vehicle would be nice. But I would also take a motorcycle. So
I don't know if the freezer will fit on the motorcycle, but fine.
Well, I get a backpack freezer. I used a backpack cooler for most of my masters when I was going around spelunking and caving and doing that sort of thing. And now, like, to this day, like, I still have that cooler and I like use it. I'm pretty sure I brought it to the barbecue that we had outside the lab.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's obviously been cleaned a fistful of time, disinfected, once or twice.
I was about to say, was that the barbecue where you grilled some burgers for us out of your cooler?
Yes, it was that very barbecue. Oh my. But yeah. So I got a little backpack cooler that fit on the Harley, but
yeah. Well, goals. You have to have something to look forward in life, and if that's a pickup truck with a freezer as the back for you, that's nice. But that totally reminds me of something that I've realized on my road trip now, and also while we were talking now, and you told that story about the spare tire and whatnot. So pickup trucks make a lot more sense in the US than they do in Europe. In Europe, there's no outback country where you really need a pickup truck. For me, my little Herbert, I love him, but going through the Badlands, I probably would have preferred a truck or at least an SUV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
That's just something I've noticed. And then also, of course, the cooler on the pickup truck makes more sense, because if it takes me 4 hours to get to the next city where I can actually put the samples in a freezer, it makes sense that I have a freezer on my pickup truck.
Yeah, no, I was just chatting with my wife not too many days ago about some of our younger like road trips that we took when we were little bitty, and she was talking about a trip that she took from like Missouri to Louisiana when she was, I don't know, 6, 7 years old. And then I was thinking about one that I took to San Antonio from Central Missouri when I was probably about the same, 5, 6, 7 years old. And it was sort of before leaving, like pack all the food and the drinks and all the stuff like in the car for the road trip because we're not stopping. And it's like convincing Dad to stop for a pee break was like a thing too. And, but that's okay. But we're definitely not stopping to eat. And so, we drive for like 6, 7 hours. Then it's like, man, I'm hungry. And so then it was like my job to go hop in the back with like this gigantic cooler that probably had 50 pounds of ice in it, and then dig through it to find like a cold turkey sandwich or something like that. And yeah, that would have been easier if it was just like a nice electric cooler. But again, we're talking about the 90s here, folks. If I give myself away. Yeah.
Well, I think that convincing your dad to stop on a road trip is a universal experience, because for me in Europe as well, like we've been also to the US doing road trips, and convincing my dad to stop for any of us to go to pee was near impossible.
Yes. I think that's just one of those dadisms. Like you just get in, you're locked and loaded. You're like, I got 18 and a half hours. I'm obsessed with beating my GPS time. If it says it's going to take me 5 hours and 15 minutes, I'm getting there in 5 hours and 10 minutes or whatever the time is. Like I'm going to beat it. And then someone goes, oh, I have to pee. I have to stop. I'm bored or whatever. And then I pull off to the side of the road and then I watch all the traffic pass me that I passed for the last 3 hours. And I'm like, oh, that orange semi. Curse you. There's like a real guttural, oh, I'm so sad feeling when I see that happen. Because I'm like walking into the gas station and it's like, snap out of it, Sam. Come on. It's probably not that big a deal, but it is.
I was about to ask you that now you're a dad. Are you like that too? But I think you answered that question before I even asked it.
Yeah, I think so. I think I've gotten better with it over the years now because I've just accepted that I'm adding extra time. Like the trips no longer take what I think they'll take. It's like pre-kids, oh, this is a 5-hour drive. Post-kids, I'm like, it's an 8-hour drive. It's just changed. I'm no longer like, it's a 5-hour drive that we're doing in 8 hours. I'll be like, it's an 8-hour drive that we might do in 7.5 if we're lucky. So I think I've mellowed in that sense. Yeah,
I think a lot of happiness in life comes from just accepting what you cannot change.
There we go.
To be philosophical here.
My gosh, that is some deep stuff. I mean, that's true. So what is on your roadless playlist, Julia? What is Julia jamming out to as she's driving across northern New Mexico? And you can lie if you don't want to be honest. This will be a judgment zone here.
Oh, it's fine. Honestly, it changes from time to time, but currently, so for the past couple of hours, I've put on an audiobook that I really enjoy. I didn't think I would enjoy it this much, but I've been recommended it by so many people that I really thought, okay, I ought to start listening to it. And now I did, and it's great. And I want to go back to the road to listen to some more.
Whoa.
And it's the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson.
Okay, Mistborn theories. See, if that tells you anything about this dynamic, folks, Julia is listening to an audiobook and enriching her life. And as soon as this podcast is over, will be headed to my truck and cranking up every decibel imaginable to some early 2000s Beyonce and Rihanna as I drive to the lab.
Oh, don't worry. I have those hours as well. It's just if you have like 20 hours on the road, you can spare some time for an audiobook.
Allegedly. We'll see about that. We'll see about that. Oh, no. No, that's good. I used to listen to things like that when I would, in the pre-kid era, because I'm typically, if I'm listening to like an audio book or another podcast, it's usually history inclined. And depending on how graphic the person is getting, like sometimes I would listen to those while my wife would sleep So oftentimes when we're going on a long road trip, like she's got pillows, blankets, you know, just totally conked out in the passenger seat. And then it's just me in the road for like 20 hours to Denver or wherever we're driving to. And so I would turn on one of those, and then inevitably, like, she would wake up and it would be like, and the bombs were going off around them, and then this, and then it was decapitated. And it's just like, what are you listening to? And and I'm like, well, I guess I'll go back to my thoughts, my inner monologue. Be left alone with myself for 15 hours.
I don't know if your wife's the same, but I've talked to so many women who listen to true crime podcasts for relaxation or even sleep. And I always, like, if I put one of those on, I'm going to sleep in like 10, 15 minutes, no matter how cruel the murder or whatever they're talking about. Just kind of relax. Listen to those.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of this podcast off the top of my head, and I probably should know this because my wife did her honors thesis about it at our undergrad, and but essentially it was because she majored in criminal justice and computer forensics. But yeah, and so her honors thesis was some technical thing about this podcast, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. If it was one of those like, somebody was like really innocent, like did they do it type things. But at that point in her life, I think she was into those, but not so much recently, which is kind of nice. I'm glad that I don't have to, like walk out of a room at like 8 p.m. and it's like, tune in next week to find out if she killed him with rat poison. And I'm like,
You'd rather listen to like a genocide description with the bombs falling on a city than listening to a true crime podcast.
I guess that's a little bit further from home. Then it's like, everything was fine in this quiet neighborhood until February. You're like, oh no, what happened in February? It's like, she was so nice. She would never do that. I'm like, we just ate at dinner the other night with Lisa, and then it's like Lisa stabbed him 18 times while he was asleep. And you're like, oh no. Oh my. No, that's good. Although I will say, in my older age, not that I'm super seasoned, but a little salt and pepper going on, I am not as excited about long drives as I used to be. Before I was like, oh yes, I'm embarking on a quest to go cross continent in a beat up 2006 Kia whatever. And now I go, oh, I have to drive 6 hours? No.
Without a pee break? Oh no.
Yes, no pee breaks. None at all. Oh my. That's so good. Man. But you're having a good time out on the road though.
I totally am.
That's great. That's great.
Really nice. And the weather now is also nice. I might just keep traveling around and just call in for our sessions from wherever.
Yeah. I mean, this does seem to work.
The traveling reporter.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yes. Let's cut to Julia out in the middle of the Sierra Nevada.
Updating you on the poop samples that I find.
Exactly. You're like, on this hike, Sam, I found such and such. No, that's great. I actually tell people that I'm because I've got some buddies now that they go big game hunting in. Oh, where does that guy go? So a couple of them go to Utah, and then one goes to Montana. And I'm always like, hey, you come across a grizzly bear. Well, not the grizzly bear itself, but some grizzly bear poop or some whatever, something like that. I'm like, you gotta send some to me. Let's get real with each other. Like while you're out there shooting things with sticks and pointy rocks and whatnot, like take a tube. Come on, it'll be all right. I've yet to have one ship one back to me, but that's beside the point. They're probably too preoccupied.
But I did come across relatively fresh black bear poop in the Black Mesa State Park.
Really?
In the Panhandle.
Wow.
Yes, I was really excited. I was scared for a second there because I was alone, and I was like, geez, where's that bear? But it was relatively fresh. I could tell by how all the other poop droppings that I found, they were all frozen because it was so cold.
Okay.
And this one just wasn't.
Oh my, it was warm?
It wasn't warm. It wasn't like steaming hot. So it's been on the ground for a while. So I wasn't too scared. I was pretty sure the bear is not close.
Just hiding
But it was
behind a bush.
exciting. It was the first time that I came across bear droppings in real life.
Wow. No, that's so crazy. I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever seen bear scat in person. I don't think. I've seen some bear tracks
Mhm.
once or twice, but never any bear scat in person. But I probably just wasn't looking hard enough.
I like how you find all the sophisticated synonyms for poop, and I'm always going with poop.
Well, that's because you can say
Sam, the
things like,
sophisticated scientist.
yeah, but
And
you can
here
say
is
things
this
like
Austrian.
fungi and fungi and fungi, and I'm like, I struggle with how to say this F word. You know, I'm like,
I think we've decided on the F word, right? That's
So
what we decided on. It's always going to be
exactly.
the F word.
Yeah, so I can come up with the fancy words for, you know, poop, and you can come up for all the, you know, fancy words that make up for the F word. Yeah.
That's just because I also don't know how to pronounce it.
No, that's great. Man, this is fun. It's not the same, but it's still fun. This is good. I'll definitely have to figure out next time how to get my video on. Now that I know that this screen doesn't, like, I'd have to get a webcam for it. Man.
It sounds like that on the way of figuring that out, you will also figure out how we can turn our podcast into a video podcast.
Ooh, yes. I got to give the people what they want. Not that I'm sure that's what they want, but
yeah, I was about to say, do they really want that?
Well, I have been told by some that if we get particular guests that I have name dropped to certain individuals on the podcast, that they would love to pay to see us video interview these individuals. And I was like, oh, okay. If you're serious, you know, we'll do it for like $5.
So what I'm hearing is people would like to see the video podcast, just not when it's just us. It's a video podcast of somebody else being interviewed.
Yes. Yeah, we would be like the not the entree, but we would be the, you know, the
necessary evil.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
endure.
We're sort of like the asparagus. Like, we're there, probably good for you, but like, we're not the star of the show. Oh my! Which reminds me, I was going to ask you, do you have any cooking responsibilities at your feast this year? Or are you just showing up for the party?
Honestly, I'm just showing up for the party.
Yeah. No, that's.
But I did
good.
bring cookies. I did bring Austrian Christmas cookies for the family, but I was forbidden to bring anything else. So I'm guessing I have no responsibility, but of course I will help wherever I can.
Oh wow! No, that's good. I was told that my in-laws and my outlaws and everybody that I'm related to and my wife's related to, they're going to be converging on us in Stillwater sometime between like Wednesday afternoon and Thursday morning. And so my wife has been asking me like, oh, do you have everything? Because obviously I'm super organized. I have everything under control at all times. I am the ringmaster of chaos. And so today I had to buy some more things because I didn't have them. I'm like, oh, I need to have a cheesecloth for this thing because I need to strain it. And I went, oh, I used all of that last time.
Ooh, are you talking about rumen fluid? I think you are. Ooh. What are you doing with rumen fluid?
Well, I will not be serving rumen fluid at this Thanksgiving dinner. But no, there's a lemon dessert that I like to make. I'm going to attempt to say the name, but we might have to bleep this out. But it is a lemon posset, I believe is the French. So I'll go with lemon posset. Lemon posset. And
look at you, sophisticated baker.
Pepe l'Americain. And and basically it's like heavy cream, lemon zest, sugar, that sort of thing, reduces on the stove. And then after it reduces on the stove, you douse it with a bunch of lemon juice. And then it sets for so long, starts to coagulate. You pass it through the cheesecloth, and then it just stiffens in the fridge overnight. But yeah, so I needed the cheesecloth for that. And then the last couple of years, I've really, I think, perfected my turkey recipe. And so I will be doing this exact same citrusy brine that I've been doing the last couple of years. And with any luck, I won't kill anybody. There won't be any salmonellosis or anything like that, and it'll be okay.
See, we're
Oh,
getting to know a completely different Sam here, because when you said you're in charge of the turkey, what I immediately imagined is like this guy in his back garden with this huge tub of hot oil, just bunking the turkey in.
oh yeah. No, I've never fried a turkey before. That to me, I've seen so many videos of like redneck burns house down frying turkey and different things like that I'm just like, whoa.
That's where my mind went. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Sam,
No,
but of course you are way
that's
more sophisticated than that.
no. You should totally go there. We can talk someday about the Memorial Day grilling incident of 2021, but that is alas for a different a different podcast episode. But I'm a little nervous though because this turkey's a little bigger than the turkeys that I've cooked previously, because usually I'm just cooking for my little family. And this time I think I've got about not quite double the turkey size, but it's probably 1.5x. So it's a bit bigger. And now I'm like, oh, I have to add math into this equation. Like I got to double up the amount of
not
whatever.
math.
Oh, I know. That's the craziest part to me about like orchestrating all of this cooking is it's like, oh, what time are we going to eat? Okay, if we eat at noon, then I have to start back calculating, okay, when do I let the bread start to rise? Because it's got a proof for however many hours and then double proof for another. So yeah, that's always fun to juggle. Yeah, assuming that I do it well, nobody will die.
Which you will.
Nobody will die. At least some people will be happy. I'll be happy. And what was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you something else. No cooking responsibilities. You've negated those.
I have. But I do have a question for you. Maybe we could ramble a bit about lab stuff.
Oh, okay.
Again.
Yeah, bring it on.
I mean, I know we said no science,
I'm ready.
but we're not going to do science. It's
No.
That now that you talked about the math responsibilities with cooking.
Oh, no.
How are you doing that in the lab? Because for me, like every time I have to calculate something, like either how much nanograms of DNA I have to put in this vector reaction to have a 1-to-1 ratio of vector and insert, or any I don't know, any math related stuff. I'm like standing there with my calculator and like going over it 3 or 4 times because I do not trust my own brain. How is that for you? Do you experience the same thing?
Oh, certainly. I think, especially to it, I think it depends on the type of math that I'm trying to do. Like, say, for instance, like the initial concentrations, like say when we're resuspending primers, when we get primers from, whatever company that we're going to order them from, and we want them to a particular concentration for the stock solutions, like that math gets like quintuple checked and then quintuple checked again because I have all the trust issues. But from there, I know, it's just a 1 to 10 for my working solutions. And so I can just bang out 10 microliters, 90 that sort of thing. And I do that sort of flawlessly. I'm not scared at all. But the initial of like getting it right, that one I'm always like, okay, I have to double check and triple check. And for me, it's usually more of I don't want to say a burden, but it's more, I think I stress more about it when it's not given in an easy unit. Like sometimes I'll add an antibiotic solution. It'll just say, add, whatever, like a 2.5%, vancomycin solution to this thing post autoclaving. And I go, oh no, 2.5%. What am I doing here? Okay, 2.5 grams and 100 mil. And I'll start like trying to do the math in my head. And then very quickly I will go down onto a piece of paper and I'll be like, okay, 2.5, 100. Okay. And then I'm like, how many mils did it say I needed again? Okay, I need 20 mils. Okay, cool. And then I'll go, all right, 1.25 and 50. And then I'm like, and then I'll just keep dividing by 2 or by 10 or something like that. And then when I think that I've gotten where I need to be, then I'm going to a calculator to be like, all right, tell me that I did this right. And so oftentimes, of course, like knowing me, it's on like a notepad, or not even a notepad. It's on like a sticky note. And I've got both sides of the sticky note that look in absolute disarray, but I've got something circled on both sides, but then I've double circled one of them with a different color. And I'm like, this is the final answer. You know, or I'll circle one and then I'll put a rectangle around the other one. And then that supposedly helps me remember which one is the right answer. And, but yeah, then I'll go to the computer and I'll figure, I'll be like, okay, tell me that I did this right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I loved how you described that because the sticky note thing is totally me. But what I also heard you saying is math is easier when you have units of 10 or 100, which is interesting coming from a Fahrenheit guy and a miles guy.
Yeah, no, I totally give that to you. That makes a lot of sense. I bow to the IS system with respect to its simplicity. But yeah, no, I'm always trying to make the math as simple as I can in my head. And I feel like I do pretty good with simple math like that. And then when things start getting a little dicey, start getting into, algebra 2 instead of algebra 1, then
that's when the sticky notes come out.
I was gonna say that's when things start happening. And we don't even make it to geometry and trigonometry. We just forget about that. We stop at algebra 2. Oh my.
We're biologists, not mathematicians.
I told myself that lie at some point, and I'm not sure I believe it. I remember about halfway through my PhD as I was learning all of the, command line Unix prompting, and I was really struggling with it. And my wife, who is a software engineer, is like, babe, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm trying to learn this thing, and it doesn't make sense. This while loop, this for loop, this for I and J of something else that, I'm struggling with it. And she was like, you've never had a computer science class, have you? And I'm like, no, I'm a microbiologist. But at the same time, I'm like, I almost needed like a minor in computer science, I feel like, to grasp some of if you go into like the bioinformatics side of things where you start looking at, writing your own code, especially if it's past, say, like the command line, like if you're getting into more of the Python scripts and, things like that. So, yeah, I've definitely told myself a few lies.
I wonder if we are the last microbiologists that have to deal with that kind of thing. Because from now on, you just ask ChatGPT or any other AI to give you the code that you need, right?
So what you're saying is we should have just waited 5 years.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
But that always brings me back to when you have like students, like undergrads, and you ask them what they want to do, and they tell you, yeah, microbiology or biology or whatever, because I don't really like math, I don't really like physics, and you stand there and think, who's gonna tell him that he still needs to do that?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, and I think too, for me, one of the best things that happened to me when I started getting into the lab in my PhD is my PI had a notebook. It was basically like a keep it simple, stupid math couple of pages. And it was basically all of the formulas that he needed to do all of the most basic things, whether it was like the primers or, adding like the cyber safe, whatever gel intercalating agent to agarose gels, or all of the little M1V1 stuff that he would do with certain things. It was like every single formula was in like the first 5 pages of this notebook. And then underneath the formula, like there would be an example. And it cracked me up because it would be like, used on such and such project with so-and-so. It's like added this to that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So there's like a little formula, and then there's a little like humanizing reminder of that. Because I think for me, like when I look at the whole, there's just a vomit of letters in a formula. I'm like, what is even happening here? And but then if I'm like, oh yeah, I did that when I did this thing, and I did it that way, and now it's starting to click, and I can almost conceptualize it better than the next time. And so I have little cheat sheets like that on my computer now, and so like I have a folder even that's like bioinformatics help, math help, and then inside these little folders are a whole bunch of like text files with all of these things in them. And I'm like, I need these. Without so just the other Friday, you were so nice and you delivered a 96 well plate of mine to the DNA sequencing
Did we have the
facility.
results?
I think they're supposed to be posted today. At least mine are.
Okay.
Because I got an email from her. Shout out Janet.
Oh.
If you're listening, Janet, we love you. You're great. You're
We do.
amazing. We'll totally have you on. And so, like, in the process of shipping these 96 samples or getting these 96 samples prepped, it involved a lot of colony PCRs. And for those of you that aren't necessarily aware, colony PCR, just very rudimentary way to get a tentative identification of a bacterial colony. You take a little bit of biomass, you boil it, you sort of use that as your DNA input, and then you run your PCR. And as such, you're not working with the highest quality of DNA input. There's probably some other polysaccharides hanging out in there. And so oftentimes you get quite a bit more reactions that fail, at least the first time around. You know, you're not going to be like, oh, I'm 95% efficient or whatever your efficacy is. And so I had that 96 well plate and I got about, 85 or 86 to work. And so if you would have seen, Julia, the way that I attempted to document on this 96 well plate piece of paper how I'm the only human being that can discern what was written on that paper. And as I'm writing things down and I'm adding, because I then even added other samples to the 96 well plate, like from a separate thing and from another student's project. And I'm like, well, I'll just ship this all to Janet in one go. And so the PhD student, he came into the lab and he was trying to talk to me like while I was doing this. And I was like, not right now. Okay, F3, okay, this one, this is 6, H12, you know. And I'm like, I'm not being rude, but I literally cannot talk to you right now because I will lose everything if I don't hyper focus on this. And so I had in this 96 well plate all sorts of different colors with different symbols. And then some of them were just numbers. And then, of course, you know, I had to write down on that piece of paper, like, which wells I actually wanted Janet to, like, you know, sample from to run the Sanger-Seek stuff. And, oh, my. Yeah, I don't think any other human being could have looked at my notes and been like, okay, he wants these 86. They'd be like, what chicken wrote this? Like, what? It makes no sense to me.
That is completely me when we prep another amplicon sequencing run and I have to like get the 3 different students into one amplicon sequencing run. That's totally me. But also, I mean, you always pretend like you're not organized or anything, but just that same sequencing run, I think it was Friday night, what was 6 p.m. when I finally decided, okay, I'm done. Let's go and drop those samples off to Janet together with my samples. But you were gone by that time. And I was like, shit, I didn't ask you where the samples are. And I was like about to call you and I was like, Sam usually is pretty much on top of everything. Let me just go check the fridge if I can discern which samples he wanted me to take. And sure enough, I went to the fridge and there they were, this nice little 96 well plate with the primers taped on top. Like perfect.
Oh, look at that, making me smile now. There we go. I guess there's a smidgen of organization.
Who was it that said like the real genius controls the chaos?
Ooh, there we go. I don't know, but I'm with that person. I'm with that person. No, I joke sometimes with my wife. I'm like, babe, if I had your level of organization, I'd probably have a Nobel Prize. And because I get so strewn out all over the place, it seems at times, chasing different things down because I am so unorganized. But I somehow manage to make it work. Or I shouldn't say manage. I attempt to make it work. I'm a mitigator of chaos.
Because you just told us that there's this publication you just finished again, the 4th one this year. Or how many was it?
So with the Ushahead lab, it will be my 3rd, I think, this year. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
So and I got you have enough control on the chaos to keep a grip on your career.
Let's not give all the trade secrets away here. But I got a notification that I had been added to a bioRxiv preprint. That was kind of cool. Yeah, I can't remember if it was like ResearchGate or like some third-party site like reached out to me, and it was like, oh, your
yeah.
name has been tagged in, such and such. And I went, whoa, that's kind of cool. So that was exciting
I don't
too.
know if our listeners know that yet, but you're officially now one of the F-World people, right?
Yes. Yes, I have been fungicized.
You have been roped in. There's no escape for you any longer.
Yes. Yes, no, but I think what's even more awesome about that is not only have I now been included in this AGF, this fungal publication, but we've also included you on a bacterial manuscript as well. So we've been able to sort of cross-pollinate in that regard. And I think that's been
double bond here.
Yeah. There we go. Oh my. Start talking about bonds. Oh.
Nobody can escape.
Yeah.
Just to make it just to make it sound more terrifying than it actually is.
Oh, well, in that case, we're going to go astrophysical, and this will be like the event horizon of the black hole. Like we're falling into the abyss. And
nice.
But I think that's been really cool because I was sort of, I don't want to say apprehensive about working with other postdocs, but I had been told some horror stories prior to starting the postdoc where, people, they may have had, like a really good advisor or something of that sort, but like they just didn't really get along well with the other postdoc. It was sort of like a kind of cutthroat environment where like they were trying to usurp each other for, status on the publications or the scoop on this, the scoop on that. And I think I've been so fortunate that that's at least with you not been the case for me. I'm sure that some of our listeners out there perhaps are envious of that because they might be in like a hyper competitive, environment with someone that's not very nice. And I don't want to say that we don't have like a hyper competitive environment, but I think part of that probably is just because we do have interests in other domains of life. That's probably a huge help. But at the same time, I feel like we've been fairly friendly to each other. Thus far, nobody's gotten mad and like thrown a vat of acid on anybody or, it's been pleasant. Yeah. And I've really enjoyed it. I've absolutely enjoyed working with you, hands down.
Same. And same.
Yeah,
I really did.
And I'm super stoked that, kind of like we said just a second ago, that we've been able to cross-pollinate and put you on a bacterial manuscript, and I've been able to get on an AGF one. That's really cool. And even in the bacteria manuscript, the strain name that we have for the novel isolate is AGF-001. So it's still sort of an AGF thing. Like in hindsight, I could have picked a better strain name, but it's like AGF-001 because it was the first one from the AGF stuff that you gave me. I think though that it sort of makes sense if you read through the methods of the manuscript as to why it's named AGF-001. And that's something for me, like I love chatting with students about how to give something a strain name, because oftentimes I think, especially like in our hemisphere of the lab, we sometimes might deal with like a couple hundred strains at a time. And so I always try to tell students, like, you can essentially make it whatever you want to make it. There's no criteria that says your bacterial strain has to start with the letter and it has to be, alphanumeric and whatever, and no spaces and none of this and only that. And so I give them some examples of like when I first started my PhD, these are the strain names I came up with. And they're very long and they're very meticulous. And it like tells me which animal it came from, which substrate it grew on, which number it was, the other thing, this thing. And I'm like, now it's like something 001, something 007. And it's gotten so much less creative.
It needs to be, but I mean, you need to write it on the tubes, right? So it needs to be something short and sweet that still has enough variation to it so you can use it on 100 different, like, it needs to be 2 to 3 letters and some numbers. And
yes. Yes. Yeah, because the one, I'll never forget it, when I was preparing to ship some samples out for whole genome sequencing during my PhD, and my PI was putting in the order on his computer, and he was like, okay, like I need the strain name, Sam. And I'm like, all right. And so then I go get my lab notebook and I start off with A1, and then he jumps down and he's like A2, and I'm like, nope, back to the first one. And I was like, A1 dash, XYC3 dash. And he's like, what is this madness, Sam? And I go, I'll rethink this next time. And that was part of the alpaca project that we chatted about during the sample procurement episode. And then I started, then with the bat project that I undertook, I was naming my samples BS for bat sample. And so his little joke is he would be like, the BS doesn't stand for what you think it stands for, people. Like that was like, he would always interject with that if he was like introducing me for a talk or talking about something. And I'm like, yes, it's bat sample. So yeah, my strain names have hands down gotten much, much less creative over time. So yeah, but it's always funny to me.
Your creativity, your creative energy in other points.
Yes.
Of the process, not in the strain naming.
Yeah, I was going to say all my creative energy is vibing into the podcast at this point. But I love it because like I tend to be a numbers over letters person. That tends to be where I go. And it seems like most of my recent crop of undergrads, they are letter people. And so they'll want to be like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I'm just like, why? They're just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And but then I'm like, wait, Sam, you said that they could do it however they wanted. And then I will very passive aggressively when I'm adding them to like this 96 well plate, I'll just write 1, circle it 2, circle it 3, circle it 4, circle it. So, I'm like, you did it your way, but I'm doing it my way for the amalgamated plate. But it's always funny to me to see how they come up with those strain names. It's good.
That's also something you have to learn, right? As a supervisor at one point, like going from an undergrad to a supervisor, you have to learn how to, when you say you can, like students can do it their way, because there really is no right way. You have to learn to let go of your way as well, because I'm the same. I'm telling my students, hey, there is no right way to do it however it makes sense to you. And then the first time I said that to a student, and then she did it the wrong way. I had to get a grip on myself. I was like, no, there's really no wrong way. She just prefers it that way. So we're going to do it her way in this case. And once I'm back with my samples, we're going to do it my way again.
Oh my. Yeah, that's so good. Like, and then she did it the wrong way. See, that's so good. Because another wrong way thing, like, I don't know what psychopath, this is probably a lab yap, but I got into a pipette tip box Thursday or Friday, and I swear upon every holy microbiological deity that this person or persons, I don't know who it was, but if you imagine
psychopaths.
Yes, but I will give them this though. It wasn't like they were just randomly picking them from wherever in the box, but it's like they went around the perimeter of the box. So, like the perimeter, and then they went around the next perimeter, and then the next, and it was like the rectangle was just shrinking into the middle of the box. I was like, what have we done here? Have I taught you nothing? Like, I have failed you as a human being. Yeah, that was good. I will say though, again, that's better than just randomly taking 2 or 3 from the middle of a brand new box.
God. Yes. Oh my God.
I mean,
yes. I think people should be hanged for this.
Yes.
that's
I
a crime
agree.
punishable by death.
Yes. Like I don't understand it. And part of me, I always go, you know what? Just, they don't know. It doesn't make sense. I hope that's what this is. And then I chat with them about it. And then I'll usually go like, I prefer, like, let's think about this logically. Let's start on one side and, work our way to the other side. And then inevitably what happens is they go, instead of like vertical left to right, they'll go horizontal, like top down or up to the top. And I'm like, well, that bothers me less than the other thing, so I'll just leave it here. I'm like, at what point is this not like a mountain that I'm not willing to die on? And I'm like, that's probably it. I'll die on the random 2 or 3 out of the middle one, but not the other way.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Random is something that should be punishable by death.
Yes.
Everything else, will be judged, but it's not punishable.
Yes. Yes, I will go home and have a chat with my dog, and I'll be like, yeah, boy, you know what? So-and-so today. They were really pushing dad's limits, you know. He'll just look at me like, dude, why are you talking to me? And give me a pepperoni stick. Like, what's going on? Because I'll be like, you know, I'm not ever going to make fun of you in front of you, and I won't make fun of you to other people. But my dog will probably hear about you. And so I'm like playing.
And now our podcast listeners, right? Because we are so judging people in this podcast.
Oh, yes. Yes. But I think so far they've remained nameless for the most part.
Have.
I think we name dropped, well, he who should not
Other
be named.
than Ty, we never name dropped anybody.
Yeah, that's good. You know, since he's wrapping up his wet lab stuff, I totally stole his pipettes. So they're no longer there. Man. See, that's so funny. We told ourselves that we weren't going to talk that much about the lab or about sciencey stuff, and we wound up circling the wagons back around to that. That's like me going out with my wife for date night, and it's like, okay, we're not going to talk about the kids. We're not going to talk about work. And like 30 minutes later, it's like, man, you know the kids the other day.
Well, where your heart goes, your mind goes.
Yeah, man, no kidding. Holy smokes, we've been at this for an hour and 40 minutes, Julia.
I know, right?
Is that coffee shop dog still wandering around?
She's now sleeping, but with an eyesight.
Oh, okay. That's good. There's a little coffee shop down in Perkins, Oklahoma, and every once in a while the owner will bring her dog in. And well, I guess it's not just a coffee shop. Similar setup to like where you're at. They have some, you know, food items. And usually when I go in there, the dog's in there, and then I wind up like petting the dog for, I don't know, 30 minutes. My wife's like, babe, where are you? Where's the coffee? Where's the hot chocolate? And I'm like, oh, whoops. Like I was just scratching this random dog whose name I don't even know, but they were friendly.
Well, yeah, I totally understand. Like dogs need to be scratched, don't they?
Yes. No, that's good. That's good. Well, Julia, is there anything else you think you might like to get off your chest before heading back on the road and taking your your Eagles-esque photograph on the flatbed Ford pickup truck on the corner in Vinzelj, Arizona?
No, I'm really eager to get out there and take the picture for you and put on some Eagle songs when I'm driving there.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll ditch my 2000s pop divas for some Eagles music on the way back to the lab.
Just for today.
Yeah, just for today. Just enough to mellow me out. I'm like, which ones am I gonna pick? Like Witchy Woman, that's a good one. Witchy Woman. Okay. That's okay, folks. You don't need to hear that.
But we do need to hear your rendition of what was it again called? I always forget. I remember the intro, but I always forget the name.
Take It Easy. Take It Easy.
Take It Easy, right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. No, that's such a good song. I can remember first being introduced to the Eagles in I was probably 6th, 7th grade, and my Uncle Robert burnt me a CD with this. It was like, the greatest hits of the Eagles or something like that. And so I had it on like a CD player with my headphones, and I'm listening to it. And then at that point, my mom, sorry, Mom, she was like, what kind of music are you listening to, Samuel? And I'm like, Mom, it's the Eagles. And I think in her mind, that was like the downfall of her little boy. Like I was diving into a world of debauchery and, satanic rituals and the like. And I'm like, Mom, like this is classic rock from like 1970.
She wasn't wrong, was she? Because now you're listening to the pop divas of the 2000s.
No, that's true. That's true. But I think that may have did that come before the Eagles or not? It's probably about the same time. So yeah, maybe that was a gateway. Oh, that was a gateway musical genre for me. So,
Nice.
yeah. Well, Julia, I think on that note, you've probably been hanging out in that coffee shop for quite some time. And, but I really do appreciate you. I guess you're the first caller into the podcast. So that's been, that's been really nice. It's been nice to get to chat with you about all things Life Unculturable, but predominantly your road trip. And I'm so glad that you're having a great time, and I'm going to continue to have a great time as you venture down to see some family down in Phoenix. And we're looking forward to having you back in the lab soon. And so everybody out there, thank you so much for hanging with us and for listening to us ramble on this episode. And if you have not yet already done so, you should check us out on our, am I allowed to say social media at this point? Our internet presence modalities.
On our, yeah.
So you can check us out at Life Unculturable on Instagram, on YouTube, on Blue Sky Social. But yeah, check us out on social media. If you've got a question you'd like to DM us, you can do it there. Or you can send us an email at lifeunculturable@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.